Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada. So today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, text number 3. Arurukshair yogam karma karanam yoga rudasya tasyaiva sama karanam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who has already attained to yoga, cessation of all material activity is said to be the means. Hare Krishna. So here Krishna is explaining. So in this chapter we have been reading. This chapter is Sāṅkhya-yoga. So Krishna explained about who is a sannyasi, anashrita karma phalam, karyam karma karotiya, sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. So who is a sannyasi? Sannyasi is not the one who gives up his duties, the activity itself, but he gives up the results of his duties. He is sannyasi. Anashrita karma phalam. So he is not attached to the karma. And then Krishna further explains. And here in this verse, he is explaining the yoga ladder. So it is important thing to understand here. Aruruksher muner yogam karma karanam uchyate. Yoga arudasya tasyeva sama karanam uchyate. So Krishna is explaining the yoga, and what is the yoga? We have already understood in our previous discussions. And that yoga is basically the process of linking oneself with the Supreme Lord. Right? So this yoga is compared to a ladder. It is not some entry like you enter into and then you are a yogi. It's a ladder. It's a progression. It's a gradual progression. It's a journey. So this yoga ladder, it begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity and rises up to the perfect self-realization in pure spiritual life. So it's a gradual progression. So ladder, we all understand the ladder. So there are different steps. So somebody can be on the lowest rung on the ladder and somebody can be on the top, and gradually from lower we have to rise up to the topmost, which is the perfect self-realization in pure spiritual life. So here we have been talking about this Ashtanga Yoga system. So in the Ashtanga Yoga, there are eight different elements: yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharan, dhyana, samadhi. So this is called the Ashtanga Yoga process. So starting from yam, niyam, rules and regulations. So in the beginning, uh, this is so basically this ladder, we can divide that ladder into two. So the initial part or the lower rung of the ladder is called Arurukshor. So this is like one who has just begun uh, the yoga, on the path of yoga. And gradually when you rise and when you reach on the top, and that is called Yoga Aruda. So two words you can remember. Aruruksha, this is the beginning, and Yoga Aruda, which is the topmost ladder, the rung of the ladder. So like that we understand. So here Krishna what is saying is Arurukshair Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchate. When somebody is in a very neophyte state on the path of yoga on a lower rung, then what he should be doing. So for them, the suggested process is Karma Karanam Uchate. The work is said to be the means. Means in the beginning of yoga or beginning of any spiritual practices, one should be very active. One should not give up the activities prematurely. So in the beginning, karma karanam uchyate. So work is said to be the means, but we get trained, we get educated that how to do the work. So in the beginning, it is not expected that you give up your work. Many times people are scared. Or we become too Krishna conscious and we take it too seriously. Then probably we have to give up all our engagements on our activities. But here we understand that even Krishna himself, the Supreme Lord, suggesting in the beginning, karma karanam uchyate. You have to continue with your activities, but just get trained, get educated how to do the activities, but you should continue with the activities. So this is karma karanam uchyate. And then when you become advanced, then this is called the yoga ruda stage. Yoga ruda is the advanced stage. And then sama karanam uchyate. Sama means the cessation of the activities. Then gradually when advances, then he need not to engage in any kind of activity. So these are the two stages being explained, Aruruksha and Yogaruda. The initial stage and the advanced stage. The initial stage, continue to do your activities, and the advanced stage, you cease to do all the material activities, not only just activities, just pay attention, it is cessation of all material activities. So when in the advanced stage also, yogi need not to just stop everything, but he doesn't do any material activity. Okay, so this is the two different stages. And then on the path of this Ashtanga Yoga, so initial four stages, which is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam. This is considered as Yoga Ruksha, Aru Rukshor. Means this is the beginning stage. Yam, Niyam means you practice some rules and regulations and all of those things, and try to control your mind, regulate yourself. And then gradually yam niyam and asan means some sitting posture, and then you do some breathing exercises, pranayam. So we do all of those things. The idea is, by doing all this yam niyam asan pranayam, then we try to slow down or breathe, and then we try to calm down the mind. The mind is hyperactive, then it is very difficult to focus the mind on the supreme goal, supreme lord, right? So through all these activities, one try to calm down the mind. And then next level comes is the yoga ruda stage, which begins from pratyahara. So initial four stages, yam niyam asana pranayam, it is aruruksha, it is beginning stage. And once you go beyond that, then you become little advanced. That is pratyahara stage. Pratyahara means, ahar means the food, pratya means just opposite to the food. So basically the idea is, the food is not only just the one that we take from our mouth, from our taste, from our tongue, but all our senses are the different types of food, right? Our eyes want to see so many good things, our ears want to hear something, and then we want to taste something, we want to touch something. So these are all different foods for the different senses. So at the pratyahara stage, what we do is that the yogi, what he does is he gradually start to control all this food, stop feeding the senses gradually, stop feeding the senses, right? And by that he can control all his senses. So this is where he becomes a little advanced. This is called the pratyahara stage, and this is yoga ruda stage in today's verse. So here, when he control the senses, that is when he becomes a little advanced now at this point, right? So in this advanced stage, and gradually when his mind is calmed down, his senses are little in control, and then he can do the dhyana dharana samadhi. He can meditate on the Supreme Lord, and then gradually he will go into samadhi. Samadhi means the complete absorption in the Supreme Lord. So that is the goal of any yoga practice. So what Krishna is explaining in today's verse, it is just to give you some understanding on this Ashtanga Yoga, and then how do we divide that Ashtanga Yoga between this Aruruksha and the Yoga Ruda, the beginning stage and the advanced stage. The beginning stage is Yam Niyam Asana Pranayam, and beyond that, once you come to the level of Pratyahara, Pratyahara means your senses are completely controlled now, and from there on, you become advanced. And then Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. Samadhi means complete absorption. That is Yogaruda stage. So in the beginning, when we are in the Aruruksha, the beginning stage of yoga ladder, then Karma Karanam Uchyate. That time one should be very, very active. Many times people, uh, you know, they don't take proper guidance from a bona fide guru, and they assume something, they learn something, and then they get misguided. They think, oh, I'm interested in a spiritual life, so I should stop everything, no activities. But it will not last long, because there is a conditioning. We have been doing so many things, we are attached to so many desires, and so much of conditioning is there. So in the beginning, we are not asked to stop the activities. Karma karanam uchyate. Continue to do your karma, your activities. So our mind should be always engaged in the beginning stage. Mind is like a child, it is compared like a child. So child is always restless, child is always very notorious, keep running around, right? So mind is like that. It's constantly running here, there, and everywhere. Suddenly somebody asks, "Hey, stop everything." How long you can survive with that? Maybe somebody can forcefully stop you for some time, but as soon as the child, sometimes the mother, scold the child, just be here, don't just go anywhere. And the child, forcefully he just stopped. But as soon as he finds that mother is little here and there, and then child again start doing all kinds of notorious things. So mind is like that. Forcefully, if you try to stop the mind and the senses, it will not work. It will not last long. Right. So that is why Krishna is suggesting a very practical solution that in the beginning, karma karanam uchyate. You be engaged, like child has to be engaged. So sometime what mother does, child keep doing all kinds of notorious things. So mother will give him a lot of toys, and then he is engaged with the toys. So it's a right engagement. He is not creating any disturbance. He is not hurting himself or damaging any other things because he's busy with playing with the toys. So in the beginning, when we are not advanced, we are not controlled. So that time mind should be engaged in meaningful activities. Karma karanam uchyate. There should be some meaningful engagement. If we don't engage the mind into some meaningful things, then mind will be engaged in some nonsense activities. So that is why you see that how what we read here in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada actually devised the plan to practice all this principle in a very practical way. When Prabhupada came to America, and then in the beginning, nobody knew about what is yoga and all this advanced stage and then beginning stage, yoga ruksha, yoga ruda, nothing. So then, but Prabhupada very practically engaged all these young American boys and girls in so many activities. They're very, very passionate people. So you cannot tell them that, no, okay, now you cease all your activities, sit here peacefully and start chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Whole day will be all chanting Hare Krishna mantra and we'll read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and that is what is the spiritual life. Yes, that is definitely the spiritual life, but that is a very advanced stage. But in the beginning stage, Prabhupada engaged them practically in so many activities. They were very passionate. Prabhupada figured out the plan to how to engage their passion in a very meaningful way. So Prabhupada engaged them into sending them out on streets and kirtan. All these people, young boys and girls, very passionate, very energetic. They'll go out every day and do a lot of, Nagar Sankirtan, book distribution. Practically, in the beginning of this Hare Krishna movement, there was not much activities. The only activity is Nagar Sankirtan, like street Sankirtan and book distribution. And this devotees in the morning, they'll attend the sadhana program, like chanting, hearing Bhagavatam, discourses. That is also engagement. The 2 hours you committedly chant. So you are engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. 2 hours you constantly chant. If you don't chant, you don't engage your mind in chanting, then mind will be engaged into some other thoughts. Something will be going on, and it will be mostly it will be all nonsensical ideas, nonsensical activities. That is what happens with most of the people. So Prabhupada created that engagement in the morning. You attend the sadhana, chant Hare Krishna mantra, attend some arti, do some kirtan, Guru Puja, and then listen to the Bhagavatam discourse, engage your mind, understand this knowledge, this philosophy. So like that, 3 4 solid hours you're nicely engaged in pure spiritual activities. But then beyond that, people may not have the capacity to go beyond 4 5 hours of engagement. Then they become very passionate. They are passionate and they become very restless. Then Prabhupada says, okay, now you go out. Do the kirtan in the street. So the devotees in a group, they will go on whole day, hours and hours. They will do nice kirtans and engage, new people and to educate about this Krishna consciousness. And then book distribution is started. And the devotees were very, very passionate, morning to evening, morning to night, many, many days. Like 12 hours, 15 hours. Devotees are in street carrying, the bag load of books, and on the roads they're giving, distributing. So this is what is the engagement is needed for the mind. So mind has to be always engaged. Either we can be engaged in some activities of sense gratification, where to go, how to eat, how to enjoy my senses in so many other ways, what's going on, different plans, different ideas for sense gratification, and that will cause the bondage. But if mind is engaged under the guidance of a bona fide guru in a very meaningful spiritual activities, and then mind is satisfied with that engagement. So this is what is Prabhupada did, and that is what is Krishna explaining here, that Karurukshir Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate. In the beginning, should be very actively engaged. Whole day we have to figure out. And that is how, those devotees like full-time monks, the brahmacharis in the temple, Prabhupada had devised the plan that whole day, morning 4 o'clock till night 10 o'clock, full day engagement. You get up early in the morning, get ready, attend the sadhana, 5 o'clock Mangala Arati, then chant your japa, 16 rounds, 2 hours, then do some kirtan, and then listen to Bhagavatam discourse. And by the time it is already 9 o'clock, 4 5 hours of solid sadhana, and then have some prasadam and so many activities in the temple whole day. Some devotees are engaged into some managerial things, some devotees are in some preaching program, some devotees are in some other cooking, cleaning, and so many different activities are there. The idea is mind should be engaged. Mind is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities. It would be engaged in some sense gratificatory activities, and that will cause bondage, that will cause unnecessary agitation. People are not happy, they're not satisfied despite all their attempts, all their ideas of sense gratification. So, like that. So, this is the understanding, and Krishna also explains in the Srimad Bhagavatam that this is the verse that, and this verse says, Prana Artha Diya Vacha Shreya Achranam Sada Dehinam Iha Dehishu. So, he says one should be engaged in 4 ways. So, Krishna suggests very practically, he says, Prana, Artha, Diya, Vacha. You can be engaged either by completely surrendering your life into service of Krishna. So full time you are engaged. If you cannot engage like that, then you engage your hard earned money. Artha, whole day you're working and then you get the results, and that result should be engaged in the service of Krishna. That is Artha. Somebody say, no, I don't have enough to give anything to Krishna. Then use your intelligence, Diya. Diya means intelligence. So use your intelligence. Some skills are there, something, some abilities are there. So you engage that in the service of Krishna. You can take the guidance from more experienced devotees and then engaged with the diya. So prana artha diya. And somebody say, no, 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 I don't have even intelligence also. Then vacha. Vacha means your words. So devotees goes out or anybody comes to temple, they spend some time. Vacha. Vacha means their vani, their words. So they engaged with, some visitors, some devotees coming to temple, or devotees are going out and trying to talk to some people, and they're explaining about Bhagavad Gita, about Krishna consciousness, about the chanting, and trying to inspire the people to take up this process for their own good. So they're using their words in serving. So this is karma karana muchyate in the beginning stage, and then gradually, when people become advanced, then sama karana muchyate. Sama means then you stop activity, you cease the activities. Sorry. So this is what happens, and it's natural. One should not prematurely, artificially try to cease the activities. Oh, looks like now I'm advanced enough, so I should not be doing anything. No, it doesn't work like that. We might probably, on the name of ceasing the activities, thinking that we are advanced, we might being very lazy. It might happen like that we might become very lazy doing all of those things. So one should not prematurely try to, do all this. It's a natural progression when somebody really becomes advanced, and that stage he start losing all this interest in any kind of material activities. So please pay attention. It is not the cessation of activities, but cessation of material activities. The person, when gradually advanced, he is not interested in any kind of sense gratification. Simple examples like, going for movie, going for parties, just sitting and chit-chatting unnecessary things, discussing hours and hours on politics, some Hollywood, Bollywood. Naturally, the devotee is not advanced, devotee is not interested. He feels like it is such a waste of my time. I should utilize my time in the service of Krishna properly. So it doesn't mean that he stopped talking. He talks, but he talks about Krishna. He talks about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and hours he can talk. So they're not lazy. They're not like lethargic people, but they're very, very energetic, very enthusiastic, and they go on talking and they derive a lot of energy from the talking. Like we see Srila Prabhupada, very, very advanced and a Mahabhagavad, a pure devotee. Prabhupada practically worked like 20 to 22 hours every day. So here it is said that Samakarana Muchyate, cessation of activities. But Prabhupada is very active, so much active that nobody can match his pace. He's active almost like 20 hours, 22 hours. Practically, he was sleeping 2 hours. So he's active, but he's active in a Krishna conscious way, not any material activity. So that is the kind of the engagement that one should have, and that will happen automatically, gradually, in the advanced stage. Right. So like that, this is yoga ladder, and there's maybe in the future we can discuss that yoga ladder starts from, there is karma kanda, where people are interested in doing activities as per the scriptures, and they want something. Okay, I want some money, let me worship this demigod. I want name, fame, let me worship this way, that way. It's called the karma kanda's action. Then gradually somebody advances, then they do the sakam karma yoga. Karma yoga means they understand that transcendence is the goal. So this, okay, whatever activities I'm doing, let me offer the result in the service of the Lord, and then I can enjoy. But still there is a tendency to enjoy, not independently. He says, okay, let me do something for Krishna, then I'll enjoy. Then next advanced stage is Nishkam Karma Yoga. At the Nishkam Karma Yoga, the person is not interested, is not attached to the fruits of work. He just say, okay, let me just work hard sincerely, and I don't care about the results. Whatever results comes, I can just engage them in some seva, and like that. So that is next level. He's not attached to the results itself. Then next stage is called the Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means the platform of philosophical inquiry, where he is detached from the work itself and the fruit of the work. Says, okay, you give me any activity, I'll just do that. I'm not attached to this activity only or that activity only, and I'm not interested in the results also. It comes, I'll give that result also. So this is little advanced stage at the Jnana Yoga. Jnani, knowledgeable person. And then when he becomes little more advanced, this is called the Ashtanga Yoga. And at that point, he try to be completely absorb himself in meditation. And the topmost on this ladder, the topmost rung is the Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga means is completely engaged in the service of the Lord, completely absorbed in thinking about Krishna. And thinking about Krishna is not just simply idly sitting and thinking. Thinking means is thinking. Then what can I do for Krishna more? How can I share Krishna's message? How can I, share this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita? So when he's thinking, he is very active. He want to do something for Krishna. So that is the highest stage, where he is completely absorbed and engaged in the service of Krishna, and that is called the Yoga Ruda stage, right? So here we are talking about Arurukshar and the Yoga Ruda, the beginning stage and the advanced stage. Now, question should be asked that, okay, where are we? Are we on the beginning stage or advanced stage, or we are in the on the ladder like Karma Kanda, Sakam Karma, Nishkam Karma, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga? So by Prabhupada's mercy, we have got the process of directly Bhakti Yoga. We may not be fully advanced, but we are starting from the advanced stage. We are not worrying about the beginning stage. We don't care about that. That, okay, let me do some Karma Kanda, then Sakam Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga. No, we are not interested in all of that. We are directly starting from the advanced stage, and in advanced stage also will become more and more advanced as sincerely we practice. We become more sincere, more serious, and then we become more advanced, right? So Bhakti Yoga is that advanced stage. It's called the Yoga Ruda stage here. Okay, so in the Yoga Ruda stage, Samakarana Muchyate, devotees, they seize all the activities, all the material activities, but they do all activities which is in connection with Krishna, which is in the service of Krishna, and with that activity they don't get bound, but they become more and more advanced. Okay, so these are some of the thoughts on this verse. Anybody any quick question or any comment? Somebody wants to ask something, or yes, you can ask. Unmute.
Sadar Pranam, our glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, in today's class, you mentioned about the stages of this bhakti. I had a question. Where does deity worship fall into which stage?
Yeah, deity worship is like the Bhakti Yoga only. If it is done under the guidance of a bona fide guru. So in the Bhakti Yoga, so Bhakti Yoga is the highest stage where the deity worship begins, where we understand that Supreme Lord is a person, and then the goal is transcendence. Transcendence means to absorb my consciousness fully into Krishna. So this deity worship is the means to absorb myself, to engage myself, fully into the seva of the Krishna. So yes, it is the bhakti stage, bhakti yoga.
So my question is, I read somewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, 29th chapter, I think. It somewhere it mentions that deity worship is the first beginning of the um, devotional service or bhakti yoga. So then, what is the highest in the bhakti yoga? The topmost.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you are referring to. Probably we can read that and understand what is the context, not how it is the beginning. And
Okay.
then Bhakti Yoga beginning and the end, everything is same. In the beginning also we chant Hare Krishna mantra, at the end also we chant Hare Krishna mantra. In the beginning also we do the deity worship, and in the advanced stage in the end also we do the deity worship. But there might be a little change in our consciousness. In the beginning we might do the things in a very ritualistic way, either it is chanting or deity worship. But in the advanced stage, we can do with a lot of love and devotion. Yeah, but I don't remember any such reference. Probably we can read that in the beginning you DT do the DT worship and later we give up the DT worship. No, Bhakti Yoga is like that. The beginning and the end, means and the end, everything is same. But the intensity of doing the things, the consciousness, the level of consciousness definitely improves. That's the understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody's any other question? Any comment? Okay, so we'll stop here. Bhagavad Gita, as it is, ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.